a lot of people are watching you right now, and they're hearing you give your ideas of what to do, and they're saying, but aren't you the guy who got us in this mess? I mean, they're saying, look, you're the guy who ran Iraq for President George W. Bush. And
all right, folks, Erin Burnett on CNN talking to Paul Bremer, who was the presidential envoy for George W. Bush to Iraq. Welcome to Give Me Five. This is the first of a two-parter on this segment, because I've never seen or rarely seen such a disrespectful interview where the host showed such utter disrespect towards a distinguished figure such as Paul Bremer. She's trying to make him into a man who is guilty for ruining Iraq. Watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. This is a great day in Iraq's history. Iraq's future, your future, has never been more full of hope. The tyrant is a prisoner. Now is the time for all Iraqis, Arabs and Kurds, Sunnis, Shia, Christian and Turkoman, to build a prosperous, democratic Iraq at peace with itself and with its neighbors.
we now, of course, know none of that came to pass. How did it go so wrong?
Actually, you're wrong, Erin. Every single bit of that came to pass.
Yeah, and we now know none of that came to pass. And boy, you know, let me just tell you, he handled her disrespect with dignity, and he read her the Riot Act. He educated her more.
They have the Arab world's most progressive constitution. They have conducted 6 elections since I made that speech, all of them democratically. They have a democratically elected government. Their per capita income, just a minute.
Go ahead.
Their per capita income today is 6 times what it was when I made that speech. They had all of that in place. We defeated Al-Qaeda. The Iraqi army defeated Al-Qaeda with our help in 2009. All of those things came true. They have all been reversed in the last 2 years.
Yeah, well, Erin Burnett didn't like that, and she didn't like that one bit. Now, it must be pointed out that Bremer wrote a piece in the Wall Street Journal under the headline that only America can prevent a disaster in Iraq, and he called for some form of U.S. troops on the ground, which it appears he might be getting, because it appears that that's exactly what we're going to do. So then Erin Burnett brought up one of the old talking points from the left from way, way back. Watch.
I saw the statistics on simple things like electricity when you were still there and in the years after. It was horrible and much worse than it was before. A democratically elected president, of course, who's engaging in purging people who are not of his religious persuasion. How is that success?
Erin, you're going to get your facts straight. First of all, when I left, the electricity production was 50% higher than it had been under Saddam Hussein, and it was fairly shared around the country instead of all being pigged by his cronies in Baghdad.
And he went on to face her off point by point by point, and he had the answers, and she had left-wing talking points, and she was rude about it. More.
Strategy cannot be done just militarily.
The decision, though, that you talk about, the decision that you talk about as a crucial one, which I think everyone could agree on, which is when U.S. forces would leave Iraq. That was a decision made, of course, by George W. Bush in the Status of Forces agreement he signed in 2008. He said all U.S. forces would be out by December 2011.
All combat forces.
But that was a decision made by George W. Bush.
Combat forces. That's an important distinction.
Okay, it is an important distinction, and again, one that Erin Burnett, it appeared that it was lost on Erin Burnett because she went on and confronted him again. Look, in part 2, you're going to see them go at it again, because in my view, she was rude and she was disrespectful. And let me do what we call a tease in TV land. You're going to see what I felt was a reprehensible and really undignified comment by Erin Burnett when she was on CNBC, directed towards George W. Bush many, many years ago, and it might put all of this in perspective. She called George W. Bush a very unflattering name. We'll have more of the confrontation between Paul Bremer and Erin Burnett from last night on CNN, and we will bring you as well the video of Erin Burnett and what she said about George W. Bush. You may not, it'll put it all in perspective, I promise you. But very disrespectful, in my opinion. You need to be more respectful to a man of that stature. On the Steve Malzberg Show.